And Big John Fury, the fighting man, 100 on the hard road. Fight any man born from his mother, whatever that means. Well, anyway, he's been given the opportunity to fight the Cobra. He said, I'll fight you. He's called it out, hasn't he? He's going to give 75% of the money to charity as well. I mean, he talks all waffle, doesn't he? But it's gone to the stage where the broadcasters are quite interested, and he's making demands now, unreasonable demands about trying to get Tommy Fury on to fight before him and me.
Carl Froch has reacted strongly to John Fury, accusing him of making excuses and setting unrealistic demands ahead of a potential fight. Froch also criticized Fury for creating unnecessary drama around his son Tommy Fury, claiming that the constant attention doesn't reflect real fan interest in Tommy's fights. He further stated that Fury had previously been offered genuine opportunities to step into the ring, including a proposed bout with Joe Egan that reportedly came with a 7-figure purse, but chose to decline and make excuses instead.
Basically put a blockade in there with his son Tommy, which is ridiculous because, let's be honest, no one gives a shit about Tommy fighting. Who cares? We watched him against, who's that YouTuber? Fake Paul. Watched that fight, and Tommy's done nothing since. He pulled out against Darren Till, and he's done fuck all since, so no one's bothered. It's Big John Fury running his mouth, big gobshite, making a load of noise, making a nuisance of himself. He looked like a right pillock, didn't he, at that press conference last week. So then he gets offered the opportunity. He's been offered the opportunity before to fight Joe Egan, let's be honest, and he bottled it, Mickey Theo. But the Joe Egan's the big one. Joe Egan stuck it on him and put loads out there to say, I'll fight you. And Misfits would probably show that. And John Fury has got no intentions of fighting anybody, including Joe Egan and myself. And he's had the option put in front of him. It's going to be X amount of pounds, and it's 7 figures as well. And he's just said, oh no, I want to get Tommy on, and made an excuse and talked bollocks, talked his way out.
Carl Froch also dismissed John Fury as someone who constantly calls people out but has no real intention of stepping into the ring. Froch argued that despite all the loud claims about being the toughest or hardest 50-year-old around, Fury tends to back away when genuine opportunities arise. From Froch's perspective, the repeated rants and public challenges are simply empty bravado, which is why he believes people should ignore Fury's threats rather than take them seriously.
Every time you see him ranting and raving and calling anybody out and saying he'll fight anybody, just know that he's absolutely talking pure gobshite, because that's what he does. So the guy just needs to go away. He needs ignoring. I mean, I ignored him last time. That's why, because I know he's just full of shit. But now it's been confirmed. He's got no intentions of fighting anybody, including myself. After all his mouth and all his running his gob and talking shit, and he'll fight any man, and he's the hardest man in the bloody, hardest, whatever he said. I can't remember what he said. The hardest 50-year-old in the world. He's not going to get in the ring and start throwing punches, ever. So he needs to, go on, John Fury, piss off.
Former champion Carl Froch delivered sharp criticism toward John Fury, accusing him of frequently picking confrontations with smaller or widely respected individuals in the sport. Froch argued that instead of proving himself through real competition, Fury often relies on aggressive talk and intimidation tactics. He referenced past moments, such as Fury's heated exchange with Carl Frampton during a press event in the United States, along with a more recent dispute involving Steve Bunce. According to Froch, these types of incidents create the impression of bullying and ultimately damage the reputation of professional boxing.
Such a big loudmouth gobshite who's done call, living off his son's name. And it actually winds me up when I think about when he started on Carl Frampton, a good friend of mine, top pundit analyst, ex-world champion. He started on the smallest man in the room at the Usyk press conference, headbutted him. He had to go at Steve Bunce last week. He constantly does it. And then he stuck it on me. But you know what? I feel like I might be the chosen one. I feel like it might be my job to finally shut this big gobshite up. All he does is run around, running his mouth, beating his chest, the ultimate man and all that bollocks. So John, for one final time, listen to me so it goes into that thick skull. I accept your challenge, but know one thing. When that first bell goes, I'm going to come over to your corner and absolutely stick it on you, Cobra style, and set about you and make a mess of you. You know why? Because you're a bully and you need putting in your place. You're a bully and you're making a mockery of this sport, professional boxing.
Following the exchange, a number of figures within the boxing world weighed in on the escalating dispute between Carl Froch and John Fury. Their reactions varied, with some supporting Froch's criticism, while others focused on the broader debate surrounding Fury's outspoken and often confrontational behavior.
I like it.
It's great.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is. I mean, look, Froch. I'd like to see it go off, if I'm honest with you. Do you know what I mean?
You think it ever would?
John Fury's a big lump, but I'd actually back Carl Froch against virtually anyone on the cobbles. Do you know what I mean? So,
Would you watch it on Misfits?
probably, yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, but I know that he blows up before press conferences, and he's just getting some steam off, blowing some steam off.
He said he wanted to fight you in your prime. Do you remember that?
Yes, he did. I remember that, and I was like, he's not serious, is he? We didn't really take him too serious, but he did offer.
As for John chasing Carl down, I mean, it's just, I watched that and I was thinking, what did Carl do? Then I watched a couple of videos where Carl does have a go at Tyson. And I think, who fucked up there? Netflix. Why would you get someone that clearly doesn't really like Tyson on a Tyson card? Or at least in the studio to present. So you can understand why John's like, well, you're making money off my son fighting. No, I don't. I kind of get that. But also on my side, I was like, well, you can't even talk about anyone now without people getting upset. Like, if Carl can't talk about you as an ex-world champion, then fuck me, I do not have a chance. So it just kind of made me feel like everyone's a bit too sensitive, really. But look, I like John. I like the Furies. I like all of them. I've always said that I think they bring so much excitement to the boxing game. Shane, Tyson, John, all their clan, Tommy. But they can't get upset at someone like Carl having an opinion. They should be able to have an opinion without someone screaming and shouting at you. That's my thoughts on it.
John Fury earlier, did you see any?
At a distance with my binoculars on, something was going on. I'd imagine it's Carl having a go at the Furies, probably over his time on his channel, maybe, I'm guessing, and John didn't like that and wants to have a fight with him, something like that.
It was something like that. I don't think he was still necessarily turning down a fight.
What I do know is that John Fury and Carl Froch on the cobbles will be fun. I think they both have a good fun doing that, but I'm sure it's all fun and games. They like to say what they believe. They like to say something that's controversial, and they're two big characters, and we love having them around the sport. So let's leave them to work that one out.
I like John Fury. I've met him on a number of occasions, and I've always felt him to be a very educated voice around boxing. His recent incarnation over the last 2 or 3 years of John becoming front and centre of the circus, like a Cirque du Soleil horror show, I think that's embarrassing. I think Carl Froch is putting in a video. By the way, Carl Froch is standing right there when he's saying, where is he? Carl Froch is doing his first broadcast for Netflix. He doesn't want any of this. The one thing I don't think Carl Froch is frightened of is John Fury. I know it's theatrics. I know it's part of the show. I know it brings noise, and I suppose in its space it does its job. But is it not just a tad embarrassing?
Listen, you said it yourself, in its space it does a job, and I think we live in that world today where now people, it was a press conference that was always going to be maybe a little quiet because Makhmudov doesn't speak particularly great English. He's not really going to say too much. Tyson Fury done his thing, and he was talking about Anthony Joshua and the tragedy there and the circumstances for him coming back into boxing. That was all great, but that John Fury always adds a little bit of spice, and that's what gets people watching. So I suppose it done its work. And you've got your own opinion on whether it was embarrassing or not embarrassing.
Is it good spice, Holly? Is it good spice?
I'll tell you what. Listen. From one side, I'm a fan of Netflix getting involved in boxing because it broadens it out in so many viewerships. But on the other end, I sometimes question what Netflix puts on. And I'm saying, do they really have the best interest of boxing, or are they just looking for the clickbait of the moment? And when you're looking for the clickbait of the moment, this is yet another example of that. The Furies have a lightning rod image. Obviously, Tyson backs it up. He can fight, okay? Yep. He's accomplished everything. But then you got this kind of thing here. You make the point about Makhmudov's not really an opponent that's going to sell a fight either. Fury's just coming back in as well. People love a train wreck, man. I hate to say it. We're in a generation where the train wreck sells.